Welcome back. Today I'm going to talk about crime and the crime that has been happening all around lately. There has been a lot of shootings and killings all around, and it seems to be happening more and more frequently every day now. And before, it was sporadic, a couple of times a week or maybe a couple of times a month. And now it seems to be like it's happening every day here. And all around the world there's things happening that I don't even understand or don't even know if you are aware of, that, the crime spike has grown. And I feel like that the crime spike has grown because people are getting angry. People are getting very mad and they're not knowing where to go. The resources are being cut and limited and things are happening. People have families that they're trying to support. Jobs are very far few in between these days, even though they say that there's plenty of jobs out there, but there's not plenty of people working them. There are plenty of resources, they say, that's out there, but there's not many people going to them. Well, many people don't qualify for them. And that is one of the things that I'm thinking that is happening to what is spiking the crime rate up. When I moved to Seattle a while back, Seattle was quiet, didn't have that many killings, didn't have that many violent crimes. And now they're one of the highest violent crime in the nation. And and that's only within a whole half a decade that this has been happening. Now that this crime spike has happened right here in our own back doors, I heard a lot of people talking about how, something's got to be done. This is, not right, and this is where I live. And I'm thinking to myself, like, crime can happen anywhere. Crime can happen wherever you are. Crime can happen to you. You never know. And with that being said, people are on heightened alert and they're on guard. And I understand that. My thing is, like, you're on heightened alert and you're on standby and you're on guard. But what are the things that we're doing to put in place to keep our family safe, our youth safe, our community safe? I heard everybody saying this is what should happen. But who is doing something to put something in place? There is a lot of talk about it. And there's a lot of organizations having meetings about it. And there's people really talking about this. But we can talk all we want to. We can put it in place of saying, oh yeah, we're going to have a meeting about it. But if there's nothing that's following the meeting, that's just like eating the bone and forgetting the meat, because there's no substance to it. We need to do something about the crime, not just talk about the crime. The crime that happened last week with the mailman, that was very senseless. Like, why would you do stuff like that? But then we have to think about people's minds and where they're going. You never know whether they're pissed off at, they lost their jobs, they can't pay the bills to feed their families. We have to also think about those things because, sometimes we get so caught up of why the crime and what the crime is that we don't understand why the crime happens. And that's one of the things that I want to bring to your attention is, we have all these things happening around the world, but we're not really seeing what is the substance behind it and what is happening that's making these people do these things. Is it a lack of community, lack of funding in the community, lack of resources? We spend that time doing all this and looking and put it into place where we are not focusing on what is actually needed. Like, you know, I heard the one who shot up the mailman got pissed off because he didn't get his check. Well, okay, why didn't you get your check? You know, what is it that you needed that, you know, sent you over the edge to shoot the mailman because you didn't get your check? You know, those are the things that we needed to find out why. You know, and I hear a lot of people saying, well, oh, we don't need to know that. But no, that's a very important part of reason why the crime is happening. You know, once we find out why the crime is happening, we can stop the crime before it gets to that point. You know, everybody wants to get there after the fact, and when we should figure out how we can stop the crime before the fact, because once we stop before the crime happens, then we can stop that crime. And I'm not saying that my solution is the tell-all of it, but I'm saying that the solution is to find out why the crimes are happening. You know, this spike of crimes is just not by coincidence. There's something going on that is making people do the things that they're doing. You know, they're not just out here doing willy-nilly for no reason, you know, and that is concerning me because I feel like no one else is paying attention to this, and I'm just the only one that's like, oh, wait a minute, there's something that's happening. You know, there was a shooting here, you know, youth are killing each other for a reason. And my thing is, you got to pay attention to the signs. Like, there has been a spike of youth under the age of 28 has been shooting them up, bang, bang. You know, there was the youngest one, I think was, what, 14, 15, all the way to 28. So you got to think, what is happening in this youth community? The people that's under 28 and below. Because with that said, you know, is it drugs? Is it financial? Is it, you know, relations? Is it community? We got to figure out what it is that is having our young killing each other up. Because if they all kill each other off, there won't be a future. Because all the youth will be dead. So there won't be populating the communities that you live in. You know, that's something to think about. And then on top of that, you know, we got other communities coming in trying to clean up a community that they don't even live in. So you have to think about that also. You know, are the people who are coming in here trying to clean up the communities doing justice, or are they coming in here tearing them apart? And that could be stirring up the pot for the youth as well. You know, crime happens every day, but the string of crime that's happening lately, I don't think it's by coincidence. And I don't think it's because it's just crime being crime or people being people. I think people are being stirred up, and that's the reason why a string of crime is happening. You know, I think we should actually sit down and just pay attention, and we could really figure it out. You know, instead of just talking about, oh yeah, this crime is happening, you know, what are we going to do to make that change to stop this crime from happening? What is it that the people need? You know, we really need to figure this out before it be too late or it gets out of hand, because I feel like this is just the start. And with that said, if it's just the start, how can we stop it before it gets too late? And that is my question to you. If you know or you have any suggestions, please leave a comment in the comment section below. Tell me what you think. You know, I think that we should all stick together, and we should, as a community, as a whole, should work together to figure out how to stop this crime. Because it doesn't take one person. It takes a whole village, and we are the village. And if we can get together and do that, then we can make it a different world for your youth before that, and your grandkids, and before all that, you know, and passing generations. We can stop the crime if we know what's causing it.
Dax, what is your opinion about I've heard people arguing, and actually I've heard people arguing this from both sides of the political spectrum, that even folks, I mean like full on, even folks that voted for Trump, I've had one individual in particular that even made this connection. Do you think that the rise in violent crime is in part due to the fact that we have a president right now who seems to have less regard, or is less, I was going to say less regard for human life, but that seems a very extreme statement to make, that just has, he's not as respectful and couched as other presidents have been in the past? Do you think that our political climate influences crime?
I think it does. But I think that it sets the wave and the tone for other people who really didn't have a voice before to come and say what they really want to say. Or people who was more reserved come out and be who they really was. Because with the president that we have now, you know, he's more boisterous, he's more out there, and he lets his feelings known. And to me, this is my opinion, that, you know, he wants it the way it was when his father was born, you know, and to have that means that we have to repeat history. And if you take a look at it, we're kind of repeating history. If you just sit back and just watch, things have been taking place now in the 2000s as the history of our country, and stuff that's happening now happened in the 60s, the 50s, you know. So our people that we have in the world now, we're doing exactly what our forefathers did in fighting for the rights before. You know, with him being laid back and just sitting back and watching everybody go at each other, you can't tell me this is not feeling like the 60s. You know, our other presidents, they set the tone for who and how and what a president should be. The president now sets the tone of who and what and how he should be. So with that statement, you have crime that amplifies and that resembles who he is. You don't have crime that resembles what a president is. And majority of the time we sit and say that we're modeling the world of America. But America left 2-3 years ago. Not being rude or anything, but it's been gone for 2 or 3 years. And now we're in a state where everything is divided. Not just by color, not by race, not by people or individual, but it's divided by sections of who you are. You know, upper class, lower class, and in the middle. And we will find that the rich will get richer, the poor will get poorer, and the middle class will get poorer too. But with that said, is we have it's a circle. And if we keep being in the middle, where the hamster keep rolling around, we'll keep repeating the same things over and over until we decide to get off the wheel and get on with our lives. And it's just like the crime. The crime was here, and then now we're back around. And when we look at how far we came, we really don't see the difference, because now that one stretch that we did see the difference is now pulled even closer back to where we started from. And majority of the youth, when the youth sees that this is how it's going to be, that's how they model. They don't do anything different. So when you have youth acting up, I always say, look at what the adults are doing around them. And then you can see why the youth is doing what they're doing. But then when you have adults modeling what they see the president does, I have to say you have to look and see what the president is doing. And then you can model and see why this is happening. Because when you're at the top, all spotlight's on you. You're supposed to set the example of how you want the people to go and how to lead. But when you yourself hasn't left here, and you're still, as the youth, trying to model and set examples for adults and being the head, then you're only amplifying what you are. And that's the reflection of our country today. We are only reflecting what our top of the head is down. And that's what you're seeing. Thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button so you'll never miss an episode. And comment below and tell me something about yourself. Because I am Dax and you are you.